Did you know? Your heart beats more than 100,000 times a day, without stopping, without complaining, without asking for anything in return. It has been working faithfully for decades, just to keep you alive, dreaming, loving. But what if your heart has been silently crying for help, and you haven't noticed? Have you ever felt a little out of breath after climbing just a few stairs? A gentle pressure in your chest while walking down the grocery aisle? Or perhaps that odd afternoon fatigue, even though you slept perfectly well last night? Maybe you thought, oh, it's just age catching up, nothing more. But what if it's actually your heart quietly warning you? The truth is, most Americans over 60 are experiencing a silent, invisible aging of their heart without knowing it. And sadly, many only realize it when it's too late, when the heart attack suddenly strikes. But today, say will be different, because you're about to discover something truly special, something backed by real science, a simple truth. With just 8 essential vitamins and nutrients, you can slow down the hidden aging of your heart, restore elasticity to your arteries, supercharge every single heartbeat with fresh energy, and possibly add up to 10 more strong, healthy years to your life without risky surgeries or expensive pills. But that's not all. Stay with us until the very end, because you'll also uncover the single most dangerous mistake many people over 60 make every day. A mistake that silently damages their heart, even when they believe they're doing everything right. And trust me, you don't want to miss that. So stay here, because your heart deserves this care, and because every heartbeat is another chance to live fully, vibrantly, longer. Let's embark on a journey to uncover the secrets of nurturing a young and healthy heart, starting now. The silent enemy: what really ages your heart, and why most Americans ignore it. Let's pause for a moment and think about this simple question. What truly ages your heart? Is it just time? Is it stress? Is it high cholesterol? The real answer is much more surprising. It's something called invisible inflammation, a slow, quiet fire inside your arteries that most Americans never feel, never notice, until one day they end up in an emergency room. You see, every single day, tiny free radicals, unstable molecules, attack the walls of your arteries. Like little sparks flying inside your bloodstream, they cause microscopic damage over and over again. And the body? It tries to repair this damage by layering cholesterol over these weak spots, like patching a hole in the wall. But if this happens too often, these patches build up into dangerous plaques, blocking blood flow, hardening your arteries, raising your blood pressure without you ever feeling a thing. That's why people suddenly say, "But I felt fine yesterday. How could I have had a heart attack today?" Here's a true story. Last year in Arizona, a man named Frank, 64 years old, retired teacher, went to the hospital after feeling tired just walking to his mailbox. He thought it was just the heat, or maybe age catching up. But when the doctors checked him, they found 90% blockage in 2 arteries. Frank exercised a few times a week. He didn't smoke. His cholesterol was okay. But what he didn't know was that his heart had been silently aging for years because of oxidative stress and inflammation. And he'd never been warned. This is the silent enemy almost no one talks about. We wait for symptoms, but by the time symptoms appear, the damage is often done. And here's the lesson. Your heart's health does not depend on how you feel today. It depends on how you protect it every day, especially from the inside. So how do we protect it? The good news is, there's a simple way to fight this silent enemy. It's not expensive surgery. It's not high-risk medication. The answer begins with a simple nutrient, one you've heard of, but may have never truly understood. Vitamin C. Yes, the same vitamin that you thought was just for colds may be the key to protecting your arteries from this silent damage. But how exactly does vitamin C work to shield your heart? And how much do you really need? You might be surprised. Vitamin C, the forgotten shield, and why your heart craves it. When you hear the words vitamin C, what's the first thing that comes to mind? A cold? The flu? Maybe that orange juice your grandmother made you drink when you had a sore throat? Most people think of vitamin C as nothing more than an immune booster. But what if I told you? Vitamin C is also your heart's most loyal shield, one that's quietly protecting your arteries every single day. Let's go back to Frank, the retired teacher I mentioned earlier. After his scary hospital visit, doctors didn't just clear his arteries, they gave him something else, a daily, slow-release vitamin C supplement. Why? Because vitamin C is the #1 antioxidant defender inside your blood vessels. Every day, free radicals, those unstable, damaging molecules, try to attack the walls of your arteries. Vitamin C swoops in like a bodyguard, neutralizing these attackers before they can cause tiny tears and scarring that lead to dangerous plaque buildup. But that's not all. Vitamin C also plays a key role in making collagen, the protein that keeps your arteries strong, flexible, and youthful. Without enough vitamin C, your arteries can stiffen, like old garden hoses that crack under pressure. And here's something that shocked even me when I first learned it. A Harvard study found that people with higher vitamin C levels had a 42% lower risk of developing heart disease compared to those with low levels. That's almost cutting your risk in half from just one simple vitamin. But here's the problem. Most Americans, especially those over 60, aren't getting nearly enough vitamin C from food alone. Why? Because modern food processing, canning, freezing, microwaving, destroys a huge amount of this sensitive vitamin. Even fresh oranges from the supermarket may have lost much of their vitamin C by the time they reach your kitchen. Frank learned this the hard way. For years, he thought his daily multivitamin was enough. But after adding a slow-release 1,000 milligram vitamin C supplement taken right after breakfast, his energy returned. His blood pressure dropped by 8 points. He felt younger, stronger, more alive. And that's the lesson here. It's not just about avoiding sickness. Vitamin C is rebuilding your arteries from the inside out, every single day. It's shielding your heart, boosting collagen, keeping your blood vessels flexible, all so you can walk, breathe, laugh, and live fully. So what's the right way to get enough vitamin C? Look for a slow-release form. This keeps levels steady throughout the day. Take it after meals to protect your stomach. And aim for at least 800 to 1,500 milligrams daily. Far more than the tiny amount most multivitamins offer. And remember, foods like guava, acerola cherries, and red bell peppers are rich in vitamin C. But most of us would need to eat pounds of these every day to reach the levels that protect the heart. That's why supplements make sense here, especially for those of us past 60. But as powerful as vitamin C is, it's only the beginning. Because there's another nutrient your heart needs even more desperately. A nutrient that literally powers every single heartbeat. And most people lose half of it by the time they reach their 60s. Ready to discover what it is? Let's move on to coenzyme Q10, the energy powerhouse your heart simply can't live without. Imagine for a moment that your heart is like an engine that never stops running, day after day, year after year. An engine that needs to beat more than 100,000 times every single day to pump life-giving blood through your entire body. So, what fuels this incredible engine? The answer is coenzyme Q10, or CoQ10, a natural compound that every heart cell needs in order to produce energy and keep working properly. Think of CoQ10 like gasoline for your car. Without enough of it, the engine of your heart starts to slow down, struggle, and gradually run out of power. But here's the problem. After age 40, your body's natural production of CoQ10 drops. By the time you reach 60, your CoQ10 levels are only half of what they were in your youth. And if you take cholesterol-lowering statin drugs, your CoQ10 can fall by as much as 70%. This explains why so many people over 60, even those without serious health problems, often say, "I just feel exhausted all the time. Even a short walk leaves me breathless. My heart feels like it's racing for no reason." What they don't realize is that their heart may simply be running out of fuel, starving for CoQ10. Here's a real story. A 66-year-old woman named Mary from California loved her morning walks, until one summer she just couldn't keep up anymore. Her heart pounded. She felt short of breath after only a few blocks. Her doctor suggested CoQ10, specifically the ubiquinol form, which is much easier for aging bodies to absorb. Within just 6 weeks, Mary noticed a real difference. She could walk farther, her heart felt calmer, and she swore she even slept better. It was like turning back the clock. And that's the little lesson for today. We don't just age because of time. We age because our heart runs low on fuel. CoQ10 is that fuel, helping your heart pump stronger, letting you climb stairs without gasping for breath, stroll through the park without sitting down every 5 minutes. So how can you make sure you get enough? Choose the ubiquinol form, better absorbed, especially after age 50. Take between 100 to 300 milligrams daily, depending on your needs. And always remember to take it with food that contains fat. This improves absorption. But here's something many people forget. CoQ10 alone isn't enough to fully protect your heart. Even a strong engine needs something else, a protective layer to prevent damage from the inside out. Your arteries, after all, face daily stress, oxidation, and inflammation, like metal that slowly rusts over time. And this is exactly where vitamin E quietly steps in, like a protective coat of armor, guarding your blood vessels and keeping them smooth, flexible, and young. So why does your heart desperately need this extra shield? And what happens if it goes missing? We'll discover why, without it, your heart is more prone to rust than ever before. In the next segment, vitamin E, the silent shield protecting your cardiovascular system. Imagine this. You buy a brand new car, strong engine, smooth ride, but you leave it out in the rain, sun, and wind year after year without ever adding a protective coat of paint. What happens after a few seasons? No matter how powerful the engine is, the metal body will start to rust, weaken, and crack over time. Your heart is no different. Even if you fill your engine with the best fuel, like CoQ10, without a good layer of protection, your arteries remain exposed to oxidation, damage, and stiffening, slowly, silently, and dangerously. This is exactly where vitamin E comes in. Vitamin E acts like a natural anti-rust coating for your arteries. It protects cholesterol particles from being oxidized, because only when cholesterol is oxidized does it stick to the artery walls and form dangerous plaques. It's surprising, but true. A famous study from Cambridge University found that patients with heart disease who took enough vitamin E reduced their risk of non-fatal heart attacks by 77%. 77%! A huge number, simply from protecting cells against rusting from the inside. But that's not all. Vitamin E also helps keep your blood vessels soft, flexible, and elastic, reduces inflammation, improves circulation, and naturally lowers blood pressure without medication. And yet, most people make a big mistake when they try to take vitamin E. They pick cheap supplements that only contain alpha-tocopherol. But in nature, there are actually 8 different forms of vitamin E, and your body needs them all to create full protection. Taking just one form is like painting only half of your car and leaving the rest to rust in the rain. A friend of mine, John, 70 years old, was once warned by his doctor about serious arterial plaque buildup. When he switched to a complete vitamin E complex, with all 8 tocopherols and tocotrienols, along with omega-3, his blood pressure improved, his heartbeat steadied, and the morning fatigue he'd struggled with slowly faded away. So, what's the small but important lesson today? Choosing the right kind of vitamin E makes all the difference. Always select mixed tocopherols, or a full-spectrum vitamin E complex. Aim for 200 to 400 IU daily, and take it with a fatty meal for maximum absorption. And remember, if you're on blood-thinning medication, consult your doctor before adding vitamin E to your routine. But even with the body of your car fully protected against rust, there's still one more thing your engine and your heart needs to keep running smoothly: relaxation and a steady rhythm. And that brings us to the next secret, the mineral that gently soothes your heart, calms your racing pulses, and helps you sleep peacefully each night. To keep you from waiting, the vitamin I'm referring to is magnesium, the mineral that calms and supports your overworked heart. Let's slow down for a moment. Take a deep breath and feel the quiet, steady rhythm of your heart. You see, your heart isn't just a pump. It's also an instrument, one that needs perfect timing to keep life flowing smoothly. And there's one mineral that acts as the conductor of this delicate orchestra: magnesium. Without enough magnesium, the heart can easily fall out of tune, beating too fast, skipping beats, or tightening up under stress. That's because magnesium is nature's own calcium blocker, keeping calcium from rushing into heart cells and making them overcontract or become overly excitable. But here's the hidden problem. More than 80% of older adults are unknowingly deficient in magnesium, especially in countries like the US, where processed foods dominate the diet. What happens when your body runs low on magnesium? You may feel palpitations. Your blood pressure may creep up. Your muscles cramp at night. You may struggle to fall asleep, or simply feel anxious, restless, on edge, without knowing why. I'll never forget the story of David, 72 years old, retired postman. For months, David kept waking up at 3 a.m., his heart racing. Doctors found nothing serious, but one smart cardiologist suggested checking his magnesium levels. Sure enough, they were low. Just 3 weeks after starting magnesium glycinate, a gentle, highly absorbable form, David's sleep improved. His resting heart rate slowed. The nighttime panic faded. He felt calmer, steadier, like someone had reset his system. And that's the small but powerful truth here. Magnesium is the mineral of calm for your mind and your heart. Without it, your heart can't relax between beats. Your arteries can't stay soft and open. Your nervous system stays on edge. So, what can you do? Choose magnesium citrate or glycinate. These are better absorbed and gentler on digestion. Avoid magnesium oxide. It's poorly absorbed and mostly useless. Start with 300 to 400 milligrams daily, preferably in the evening to also help sleep. And remember, if you're taking diuretics or certain blood pressure medications, you may be losing more magnesium through urine, making supplements even more important. But here's something most people don't realize. Magnesium doesn't work alone. In fact, it partners beautifully with something else, a type of fat that cleans your arteries from the inside out, reduces inflammation, and keeps blood flowing smoothly, like oil for your engine. And that brings us to one of the most essential nutrients for heart longevity: Omega-3, fatty acids, the good fats that unclog and protect your arteries. If your heart is an engine, then your blood is the oil that keeps that engine running smoothly and effortlessly. But what happens when this oil thickens, gets dirty, and slowly clogs the pipes that carry life to every cell? That's exactly what harmful fats and silent inflammation do to your arteries every single day. And unless you stop this hidden damage, these vital pathways get narrower, stiffer, and more fragile with time. Thankfully, nature gave us a gentle but powerful cleaning agent: omega-3 fatty acids. Omega-3s are the good fats, acting like natural cleansers that sweep away buildup, calm inflammation, thin the blood ever so slightly to reduce the risk of clots, strokes, and heart attacks. Did you know? The Inuit people of Greenland, who consume oily fish every day rich in omega-3, have some of the world's lowest rates of heart disease, despite eating a high-fat diet. But in countries like the USA, most seniors are dangerously low in omega-3 because they eat too little fish and far too many processed oils full of omega-6, which stoke inflammation. I'll never forget the story of Helen, 68 years old, retired teacher, who struggled with high cholesterol and triglycerides for years. Despite dieting, yoga, and walking daily, her numbers stayed high. Then her doctor recommended pure omega-3 fish oil, EPA and DHA, at 2,000 milligrams per day. 3 months later, her blood fats had dropped dramatically. Her joints ached less, her skin glowed, but most importantly, she could walk upstairs without gasping for breath. Her heartbeat felt steadier, lighter. And here's the lesson for today. Not all fats are bad. Omega-3s are the fats your heart truly needs. Omega-3 comes in 3 main types: ALA, from flax seeds, walnuts, EPA, and DHA, from fatty fish. EPA helps reduce inflammation and protect artery walls. DHA supports cell membranes and keeps heart rhythm steady. Here's what matters most. Prioritize EPA plus DHA from purified fish oil, tested for heavy metals. Look for IFOS 5-star certification. Take between 1,000 to 2,000 milligrams per day, EPA plus DHA combined. Always consume omega-3 with a meal that contains fat for better absorption. And if you're vegetarian or vegan, algae oil is an excellent plant-based alternative. But here's something people rarely realize. Omega-3 doesn't just clean and protect your arteries. It also lays the foundation for proper energy production, the kind of energy your heart needs to pump blood powerfully, efficiently, every minute of every day. And what nutrient helps your heart convert food into energy the right way? The answer lies in a forgotten vitamin, one that can literally strengthen your heartbeat within weeks. Vitamin B1, the missing fuel your heart has been begging for. Imagine trying to drive your car without gasoline in the tank. It doesn't matter how clean the oil is or how strong the engine might be. Without fuel, you won't get very far. Your heart is the same way. Even with all the omega-3 oils, CoQ10 energy, and vitamin E protection in place, your heart still needs its own special fuel to create energy. And that fuel is vitamin B1, also called thiamine. Vitamin B1's job is simple but crucial. It helps your heart convert food, especially carbohydrates, into pure, usable energy. Without enough B1, your heart struggles to pump strongly. Your muscles tire, your body feels weak, and you might experience swelling in your legs, shortness of breath, or a racing heartbeat that appears for no reason. Many seniors unknowingly develop a hidden form of cardiac beriberi, a condition caused by B1 deficiency that mimics heart failure. I once met a man named George, 71 years old, who was always exhausted. His doctors couldn't find the cause until one finally checked his thiamine levels. Sure enough, low B1. Just a few weeks after starting benfotiamine, the most absorbable form of B1, George felt like he had new life. His legs stopped swelling. His energy returned. He even went back to gardening, something he'd given up years before. Here's the quiet truth. If CoQ10 is the spark, vitamin B1 is the fuel. And without fuel, the spark dies out, no matter how strong the rest of the system is. But why do so many people lack vitamin B1? Because diuretics, water pills, used for blood pressure or swelling can drain B1 from the body. Because alcohol, high-carb diets, and even stress can burn through B1 reserves. And because B1 is water-soluble, it's not stored well in the body, so you need a fresh supply daily. So how can you protect your heart with B1? Choose benfotiamine or thiamine HCl, well-absorbed forms. Aim for 50 to 200 milligrams per day, depending on your health needs. Take B1 alongside other B vitamins. They work best as a family. But here's something fascinating. Vitamin B1 doesn't just fuel your heart. It also protects your nervous system, improves mood, and helps you handle stress. Benefits that tie directly into heart health. And yet, there's one more B vitamin your heart depends on. One that controls the balance of a dangerous chemical in your blood and quietly reduces your risk of heart attacks and strokes. Vitamin B6, the natural regulator of heart rhythm and vascular health. Your heart may beat more than 100,000 times a day. But did you know there's a silent thread in your blood that could make each of those beats more dangerous? That threat is called homocysteine, a byproduct of protein metabolism. When homocysteine builds up in the blood, it damages artery walls, encourages plaque buildup, and raises the risk of heart attacks and strokes. The good news, there's a simple nutrient that keeps this dangerous substance under control. Vitamin B6. Vitamin B6 works like a quiet janitor, cleaning homocysteine out of the bloodstream, breaking it down into harmless, useful compounds. Without enough B6, homocysteine levels rise silently, and so does your cardiovascular risk. This is especially important for seniors, and even more so for postmenopausal women, who naturally tend to have lower B6 levels due to hormonal changes. I remember Susan, 65 years old, who came to her doctor complaining of occasional dizziness, palpitations, and fatigue. Her heart seemed fine on scans, but her homocysteine was high. After 3 months of B6 supplementation, alongside B12 and folate, not only did her homocysteine drop, but her energy improved, dizziness disappeared, and her heartbeat felt more stable. The lesson? Vitamin B6 is like your heart's hidden regulator. It keeps your rhythm steady, your vessels healthy, and inflammation low. So how much B6 do you need? The best forms are pyridoxine HCl or pyridoxal 5-phosphate, P5P, the active form. Aim for 25 to 100 milligrams per day, but avoid mega doses as very high B6 can cause nerve problems over time. Always take B6 with other B vitamins for best absorption. But here's something special. B6 doesn't work alone. It is part of a powerful team, along with vitamin B12 and folate, that keeps your homocysteine in check and your arteries safe. This trio is often called the methylation team, essential for heart and brain health. And this brings us to the final, and perhaps most important, discovery in this heart-saving journey. The ultimate duo that protects your heart, your bones, and your blood vessels all at once. Vitamin D3 plus K2, the power pair that adds 10 stronger, healthier years to your life. After everything we've learned so far about energy, protection, rhythm, and fuel, there is still one more secret to making your heart not only strong, but younger. And it lies in the perfect teamwork between two vitamins, vitamin D3 and vitamin K2. Most people think vitamin D3 is only for bones, but that's just part of the story. Vitamin D3 helps your body absorb calcium from food, making sure you have enough to build strong bones and teeth. But here's the danger. Without guidance, that extra calcium can wander into your arteries, causing calcification or hardening of the blood vessels, turning them stiff and brittle. This is where vitamin K2 steps in, like a traffic cop, guiding calcium away from your arteries and into your bones, where it belongs. Together, D3 and K2 form the ultimate heart-protecting duo. In fact, a Dutch study found that people who had sufficient K2 intake had a 57% lower risk of arterial calcification and up to 50% lower risk of dying from heart disease. I remember Paul, 67 years old, who thought taking high-dose vitamin D3 every day was helping his bones. But he never took K2. His doctor later found signs of vascular calcification, a risk that might have been avoided with this simple combination. After adding 100 micrograms of K2MK7 form to his 2,000 international units daily D3, his arterial health improved. His doctor noticed better flexibility in his blood vessels during his checkup months later. What's the lesson here? It's not just what you take, but how nutrients work together that keeps your heart young. So what's the best way to get this duo working for you? Take 2,000 IU of vitamin D3 daily, unless your doctor suggests otherwise. Pair it with at least 100 micrograms of vitamin K2, MK7 form. Always take with a meal containing fat for proper absorption. But here's the beautiful part. This duo doesn't only protect your heart, it strengthens your bones, prevents fractures, improves energy, and can literally add healthy years to your life. After all these nutrients, vitamin C, CoQ10, magnesium, omega-3, B1, B6, and now D3 plus K2, we have finally reached the end of this journey. But before we close, there's one final thought your heart needs to hear. So now you know the truth. Your heart is not doomed to slow down, weaken, and age, unless you let it. Today, you've learned about the 8 miracle nutrients that can protect, energize, and even rejuvenate your heart. Vitamin C, your arteries shield against damage. CoQ10, the fuel that powers every heartbeat. Vitamin E, the silent armor that stops cholesterol from sticking. Magnesium, the mineral of calm and rhythm. Omega-3, the healthy fat that unclogs and cleans your vessels. Vitamin B1, the missing fuel your heart quietly begs for. Vitamin B6, the regulator that keeps your blood clean and safe. Vitamin D3 plus K2, the power duo that prevents deadly calcification and strengthens your bones and heart together. Every single one of these nutrients plays a role. And when you combine them wisely, your heart gets a real fighting chance to stay young for 10, 20, maybe even 30 more years. So what can you do starting today? Talk to your doctor about adding these supplements to your daily routine. Choose quality forms, not cheap, low-dose multivitamins. And most importantly, make your heart health a priority, not an afterthought. Because your heart has been working for you, faithfully, tirelessly, since the day you were born. Now, it's your turn to give something back. If this video helped you, share it with someone you care about. Like, subscribe, and comment below. Which of these vitamins are you going to start using first? Remember, it's never too late to give your heart a new plan for a longer, stronger life.